welcome back to another episode of the Ditch Pick Experience. Today we're going to be looking into a few things on this truck that have to be done. There's a list of like a million, but we're going to take the top 3 with maybe an additional bonus one. Alright, number 1 on our list is hood hinges. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's cracked right in there, and it's cracked bad enough that the hood sits up. Noticed this last night at Coffee and Cars. When I went to close the hood, it didn't want to close. The safety latch wouldn't go through the hole. I had to move it to get it in there. So yeah, that's number 1 on the list. We got to get that taken care of because we can't have the hood flopping off going down the road. All right, second thing we're going to look at. This part of the wheel well in here on the passenger side, it's pulled through. It's taken this reinforcement metal and sucked it in with it. So we're going to zip that bolt out and weld something over this. And you know, it's no surprise that everything on this list involves my welder. A majority of the time when something breaks on this, it's something you have to weld. All right, number 3 on the list is this rad support mount, body mount on the passenger side. As many of you remember, I fixed the driver's side after Wheeling Weekend last year. Well, this is from Wheeling Weekend this year. So I'm gonna have to take the bolt out of there, fix whatever I have to fix up inside of here. While I'm at it, I'll throw a new body mount under there because I have them. All right, now we move to the back of the truck. This is the bonus repair option. Don't have to do it today, but I'd like to get it done if I can. And that's changing up that other muffler to another cherry bomb, getting that taken care of. Not a real big deal, same as the last time. I just weld that 2.5-inch adapter on the end of it, hook up the hanger. As you can see, the spot welds on the back of that Flowmaster have, or I should say the front, have broken loose. So the only thing holding this on is this hanger. Okay, so that's the list. Like I say, number 1 is to get those hood hinges fixed. I'm gonna look at both sides just to check to see if they're cracked, because I think I welded that hood hinge a little crooked, and that's why this sticks up. So if I can get that stuff taken care of today, that'll make me happy, especially this, because nobody wants your hood to blow off when you're going down the road. All right, so I took the wiper cowl off. A little easier to fix them. What I think the deal is, if you look along here how that's going straight and this kind of dips down, I think that's why my hood has been fitting right all this time, because that's why this side isn't fitting right. This one's not broken, but it was before and I welded it. I'm gonna clean the weld off, I'm gonna cut it, and I'm gonna make this as straight as possible. Okay, so something else I have to attend to that's been a pain in the ass for a while. Underneath this wiper cowl, right where the hinges go, there's a crack that goes up and around here. It's happened 3 or 4 times already, and it makes a super annoying squeaking sound when you're going down the road, especially with these big balloon tires on it, and it's hopping up and down going squeak, 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 squeak. Sometimes it's worse than others, but today I'm gonna fix that too, because yeah, that's been due for a long time. So I'll just wire wheel that up, and I might cut a groove in it with the grinder just so it has some spot for the weld to go, because this part of the fender right here sits in on that pretty close, so I don't want to have that problem of not being able to get the fender over it. But since I'm here, I might as well do it. All it was 2 bolts, one there, one there. We'll get that nuked back together. So that should prep that pretty good. Like I say, I'll just take and run a bead in here, nice thick one, try and tie that back together. Hopefully this will still fit in there. Before I weld that though, I'm gonna prep those hinges. I'm gonna cut them here on both of them and try and get them lined up a little better so that they are nice and straight, so the hood sits a little more flush with the fenders. Okay, I think I got this pretty straight now. I just put a notch in it and then bent it in, and then I'll just weld it back together. This one here, I might have to come up a little bit, but same deal. I'm gonna hammer that flat and grind it a little better. So yeah, I'll get those as straight as possible, then I'll weld them. And I'll weld that spot out there on the, below the wiper cowl and where the fender hook's on. Blow some paint on it, and that part will be done. And those hinges have had a hard life. Okay, I'm real happy with how those turned out. They look a lot straighter. This one here I had to beat and pound on a bit to get it to look a little better too, because it was a little... That should do the trick. Hopefully it'll straighten out the hood a bit. I got the welder moved outside, so I'm gonna go weld that crack up and then I can blow some quick spray paint on this stuff just so it won't rust up any worse, and then on to the next thing. All right, so let's get this nuked up. And as always, I unhooked all the computer, the power, and the two connections that go to that, so we don't have an issue with that. So there's 2 layers of metal here, and there's rust in between it, so it's not welding for crap, but we gotta make it happen. Okay, that turned out absolutely mint. So she gets a little dose of the black stuff. Woo, it's still pretty hot. All right, let's throw it back together. I just jammed that in there, but by the witness marks that were on the fender, I think I'm close. But if I'm not, as Whitey would say, who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
Okay, next step. Let's get this wiper cowl on. There, that's both hinges on. Now to put this hood on by myself and not break the rest of the windshield out of it. Oh, this is sketchy. I got 2 in. I'd say that's good enough. So I'm not sure, I don't really remember if this is how far up that was, but the other side, it was a good 3/4 of an inch. And now that sits a lot better. But for some reason it's doing this right here. So we just traded places. So I'm not sure what I gotta do to fix that. Maybe it's just too bent to bring it back, but I mean, the gaps in this thing they're never gonna be right. So who cares? Okay, we're back at her again. I had to go pick up the kids from school, but I got the driver's side muffler off. You can see on this pipe here how badly cracked it is. It goes right up and around. It's almost completely around. So I'm gonna have to weld that. It's doing the same thing over here too. It's just the welds are like 14 years old or something like that. So they're rusting away. But the pipe where it's stainless is still 100%. So I'll clean those up and try and weld around that H pipe again. As I've mentioned before in other videos, this exhaust is probably gonna get altered dramatically in the next while if I ever get around to putting that anti-axle rock bar on. So basically I've got to do the exact same thing here again. Weld this piece on the back end of the other cherry bomb. Then I'll get one of these clamps like so, and a hanger up there like that. That bolts into that cross member that I built. So right now I've got to cut this off, wire wheel it so that I can weld to it. And weld that to it. This is a little smaller diameter, but doesn't matter. That was the exhaust that was originally on the Pig when I bought it. Just leave it. Go on. Go play. Well, that's the end of that welding job. She gone. As you saw, I got that done. And I did get this piece of tubing tacked back into place, but it literally, the only thing holding it on is that and that before, because I could bend it right over. So I did get it tacked in a few places. Some of it I tacked without gas because I didn't have a choice. I'll slide the muffler on and clamp it. It's not gonna go anywhere. Then I'll pick up some Argo Shield from Napa, next day's off, and finish it off. To be continued. All right, new day, and we're back at it again. Today I'm gonna try and get that body mount out for the rad support. That little bracket in here that it hooks into, the bolt goes down through it and the head sits on it, is pulled down through from the cab going up and down so much. So we got play down here, quite a bit, you know, over 1/4 of an inch. So I'm gonna buzz that out and try and get it nice and solid and secure again so that it holds together. And I'll also switch the body mounts to the poly ones that I got. More power. All right, well, it looks like this washer piece with the collar going up in is seized onto the bolt. So I gotta figure that out. Oh, that didn't work. But you know what they say, ideas are only stupid if they don't work, so that one was pretty stupid. It's hard to get in there. I need something smaller than that. Okay, I got this socket on this extension, 1/2 inch drive. I put this brass piece in the end of this, so it's got just enough lip to hold those threads, but it's not gonna mar them. Because I'd like to reuse this bolt if I could. All right, let's try that. That must be on there pretty good. It's jacking the truck up. Of course, I shut the camera off and then I get the friggin' thing to work. What I did was I just put this ratchet on it and I gave it a couple spins, just a couple, and then all of a sudden everything just dropped down. It drove that up into there. Ding. Yeah, that was just a little seized onto there. I did put some deep creep down from the top. Now I'll just take the punch and beat that up through. Shouldn't be too bad. All right, I went inside and had something to eat. I'm back out here now. I just got that hole punched through this piece. Used the plasma cutter, which I still haven't been able to get it to work properly. I don't know what the deal is. Remember, folks, I'm not a mechanic. I just impersonate one on YouTube. So holes in it, doesn't look the greatest, but all I needed to do is hold this thing and it does it. So yeah, now I need to weld this thing onto there so it doesn't move, get it centered. Yeah, I got everything all set down on here. I barely have enough threads. Put an extra washer on the inside there. It's a nice thick one. Keep in mind, I don't have this welded yet. I want this welded to this body mount bracket, and I might weld that washer to the inside so it can't shift around and move, because the hole inside is probably, you know, 1 inch around, right? It was drawing the flat washer into it like crazy before. We don't want that. So like I say, this should be good for right now. I don't think I'll mess with it too much more tonight because it's getting dark. I'm going in to have some supper right now. Maybe tomorrow I'll grab the welder and I'll nuke this on right here on each side so it can't go anywheres. Okay, so somehow I managed to get tangled up doing another one of these body mounts. It was kind of a bugger because I had to get that bolt out and it didn't want to come out. I also had to cut another one of these plates out because the other one was like completely rusted away to nothing. Gotta get this thing lined up right and then let it off the jack, so I have enough bolt to get this thing going. It looks pretty good right there. Yeah, I got barely enough threads to get on this thing. Can't even fit the washer on it. But maybe once I draw it in once or twice, it'll have enough. Alright, it's on. The only thing is I have to weld that to this because this will pull through that. So I'm gonna do that next. All right, you guys, I think I'm gonna call it for this video. I got those 2 body mounts welded up. That's 3 out of the 6 body mounts that I gotta change done. So maybe someday I'll get them all. I also got that H pipe welded back up where we ran out of gas there the last time. So that's taken care of. Not that it's gonna make it any quieter, because it's not gonna make a whole lot of difference. The thing's loud anyways now with those cherry bombs on it. But thanks for watching, you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever turns you crank. And we'll see you in the next video.